All right, here comes another tool. This, I will not stand for any mishaps. None whatsoever. Zero. I will do everything in my power to remove you from the class if you screw around with this tool. This is a firearms. Simple as that. You need to be licensed to fire this. In here, we are the licensed people. You're doing the firing, all right, under our direct supervision. No horseplay with this. Don't even push the subject, okay? No joking around. This is a handgun. I don't care how you want to write it up, okay? Pay close attention. If you're going to have a senior moment, it better not be with this tool. All right. This is the power actuated handgun, okay? It puts fasteners and puts wood and steel onto concrete typically. That's what most of them are used for. This is a very powerful. It uses a 22 shell, all right? It also uses a 27 and a 35, I think it is, caliber, all right? What we're using is 22 shells. Now, you notice that there's green, yellow, and red. Common sense would tell you that green is the least amount of powder in there. Yellow, medium, red, heavy. If you want to send something through something and it's solid concrete and heavy steel, you're going to need that, or even higher. Okay, and they do make them, we just don't have them on hand. This bushing, which you will not use, but at least know about it, fits on the end of the handgun, okay? And the reason being is if you're doing overhead shooting, all right, it protects anything that's coming down off of here. Sometimes sometimes you'll get the shrapnel coming from the metal, okay? Now, just like a handgun, you're going to point this always up and down range. Wherever there's nobody looking at, or right straight down onto the concrete, okay? There's going to be some sort of a round, and when I say a round, consider these your bullets. They come in different sizes, all right, depending on what you're trying to accomplish, all right? You also need to know what material you're going through, how far do you need to go, all right? It's a great tool, but it's a very, very hazardous tool if you don't know what you're doing with it. All right, at no time will you ever clean or oil this weapon, all right? What you want to do is we're going to select the little one or the medium one. It doesn't really matter here in the school, all right? But what you first want to do is be sure that the weapon is clear, all right? You should see all the way through. If there's any rounds in there, you got to take the rounds out. I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. But the first thing, all right, again, trigger finger up here, out of the way. Grab a hold of it firmly with your gloves on, because if you pinch yourself, which some people will, all right, because this is a charging type handgun, all right, fastening gun, all right, you have to pull it out, push it back in. See where you can pinch yourself? Doesn't take much. Charge, retract, all right? Now, at that time, you pick out the round that you want to set into the concrete, all right? You notice how I'm just pushing this in gently, all right? And that's about where it has to be for all intents and purposes, all right? The next thing I'm going to do is select my material, the shell that I'm going to use, all right? In this case, I'm going to use the green. Now, I'm going to just lay this down for a second. You notice that this is how it's going to come out. These are fully loaded, all right? That means if you accidentally drop this or you're playing around, horse playing, that can come off. And even though it's only black powder, trust me, when you see this thing go off, you're going to understand why I told you to be very careful, all right? We're also going to be talking about duds, all right? If you have a misfire, all right, hot round in the chamber. That may be cooking off, all right? So hold it down on the concrete for at least 30 seconds. Once that's done, remove the strip. Notify the staff. The staff is going to be here watching you do it anyway, but they're going to let you do it because you have to learn how to do it. If you're unsafe, we'll take over. You can count on that. But if you have a cook-off or a hot round or dud or however you want to call it, pull this strap out and hand it to the lab tech or instructor. At that time, they will put it in a can of water, all right, for 30 minutes. What it does is it seeps in there and destroys the gunpowder in it. All right, that's the proper way of taking care of that. All right, so please pay attention to the safety policies. All right, again, there will be no horseplay, no chance of screwing anything up. Now, we come over here looking at our concrete. Now, this may be in different shapes, it may be in different sizes, all right, but it's all still same basic concrete slab. There will be no reinforcing steel in this, all right, just for the safety factor of that. But you notice that my handgun or my fastener gun is facing down, all right? There's only one way to put these strings in, and that's going right into the center. There's no other way of doing this, okay? You can't be cramming it down in there. Just slide it down gently. But you also have to understand there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds already been expended, okay? So what you have to do is you push it down until you hear a click, all right? There's that click, all right? The tab barely starts to show. So look down in this chamber and gently pull these up, and you'll see down in there where the round, all right, the shell casing is parallel with the chamber. Count up five rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 6th round is at the chamber opening, okay? Just check it, be sure your hand's away from the trigger. It also has a safety device, of course. This plunger right here, this part of the barrel, it shouldn't fire, but guns don't kill people either, all right? Unless this is depressed, all right? But for all safety purposes, always just keep your hands away from it, all right? Again, my hand is wrapped around the handle of the handgun. My trigger finger is up on top, and I'm ready to shoot. Now, before I do that, you may want to wear hearing protection, okay? Pick up the handgun, set your trigger finger where it belongs, and the last thing that you should do before you set this into place is called fire in the hole. This sounds just like a handgun, and let's face it, folks, people are getting stupid lately, all right? Especially at a college environment. You're not on a construction site. Anything's possible, all right? So fire in the hole as loud as you can so it tells all the students to stay away from your area, all right? And it's a safety factor so that when you fire this, it sounds just like a handgun, all right? Pick yourself a spot that's clear, all right? We're just gonna go in here. I set it down. I push down. Remember I told you it wouldn't fire unless I push down on the plunger. Now I'm ready to fire. Fire in the hole! Now, this is gonna kick back a little bit, but just pay attention to what you're doing. Pull the trigger with your trigger finger. Pull it up, all right? And it's ready to go. You see that it'll set in depending on the charge again, okay? But you notice how the gun pulled itself out. Well, if I go and do this, what have I just done? Just raised the next bullet in. All right? So, before I do that, pull that out. Check the chamber, be sure there's nothing down inside. Because all I have to do is push this down, hit the trigger, if this is in, and you're gonna get a pop out of it. All right? The other dangerous factor down here is if you're pushing down, concrete can come flying up at you. So, you can't flinch. You have to be sure what you're doing. Every student needs to do at least 3 to 5 of these rounds. Get familiar. Be respectful of the weapon. All right? This is just like a .22. If there was some way for me to pull this plunger back, it is a handgun. All right? So, pay attention to what you're doing. It's a safe tool, only in the hands of the proper operator. Okay? If at any time you don't feel comfortable with this weapon, let the instructor or staff know, and we'll walk you through it. All right? Always clear a weapon. All right? Open it up, charge it, check the inside the barrel, be sure there's nothing there. Point it down to the ground, push it down, pull the trigger. All right? Now you know that the weapon is clear and it's safe. Wipe off any debris with a rag, all right, but don't sit there and clean it. I clean it enough that there's plenty. It's a safe weapon, and you don't have to lube it, nothing. I'll take care of all that, all right? But understand, one of these can cost $500–600, all right? It's always locked up, all right? It's under key, and you must ask for it, okay? It's a great tool, especially if you're doing a lot of construction work, all right? But just be safe with it. Thank you.